Scandal in Hollywood and worry about the lack of moralistic values portrayed on the silver screen led to the descent toward censorship in American film of the mid-1930s. William Hayes was hired to clean up the filthy screen with his list of don'ts and be carefuls, topics and visuals to avoid. Its seldom usage led the production code to be put into place in 1934. One could see the ruthless, sexually advanced character of woman becoming slightly more respectable in tone, clothing, and action. Women in particular went from being portrayed as sexually aggressive and powerful beings to submissive secretaries or wives. Jean Harlow and Barbara Stanwyck were two actresses that partially caused the censorship to increase, but also were able to make the transition to postcode film. In 1933's precode film Babyface, Stanwyck's character Lily uses men to rise to the top of the corporate world after being sexually abused and prostituted out by her father for so many years. One of the few men that treats her with respect and as an equal encourages her to use her intelligence and body to get what she wants, and manipulate men as an act of revenge against those who have wronged her and to gain influence over her oppressors.
A woman, young, beautiful like you, can get anything she wants in the world because you have power over men. But you must use men, not let them use you.
Her journey to the city is shown through the camera panning the outside of a skyscraper. The film uses this image repeatedly to represent male power and show how Stanwyck dominates and overcomes it through her sexual authority. She is empowered by her ability to gain material possession, status, and job security by playing on her male boss and co-workers' weaknesses.
Say, I like it here. How about a job? Oh, now, don't tell me in this great big building there ain't someplace for me.
Have you had any experience?
Plenty.
In The Lady Eve, Stanwyck plays a con woman turned fictitious lady attempting to seduce and cheat the man who rejected her. The Hays Code led the original depiction of this movie to be rejected due to suggesting a sexual affair between the main characters. The code takes as much sexual atmosphere out of the film as possible and replaces it with innocent love. She is depicted as the biblical Eve, laying the foundation for the fall of man. The scene that stands out the most is when she is horrified by the snake in Charles' bed. It is suggested that this stood for sin or temptation, just like the snake in the biblical Garden of Eden. The snake attempts to lure Stanwyck in towards premarital sex, but she runs away instead of giving in to her desire, or because of her possible discomfort with sexuality. Stanwyck attempts to seem experienced and independent, yet a man is always in the sidelines defining her next move. Whether it be pining after a man who has rejected her for her true identity, or her father plotting their next scam, she remains in limbo between her male counterparts. In the pre-code film Red-Headed Woman from 1932, the actress Jean Harlow follows a similar plotline as that of Babyface, even down to the same name of character, Lillian. Rather ironic for a character that is the least bit pure or virgin. Harlow plays a secretary who pursues her wealthy, clearly married boss through sexual favors to gain entrance into high society.
Afraid you're going to take me in your arms. You're afraid you're going to kiss me.
Is that so?
Well, why don't you do it?
Keep away from me, I'm warning you.
Why don't you do it?
Keep away from me.
You don't dare stay here. You don't trust yourself. Oh, do it again. I like it. Do it again.
Her role was typically of the other woman, or the moralist, conniving secretary that explored her sexuality and enjoyed it rather sinfully, too. She used her feminine power to seduce her weak boss into leaving his wife and marrying her instead so she could gain upward mobility. Harlow embraces the independence and influence she was able to achieve while using her sexuality to her advantage.
Open the door. This way, madam.
I don't need a guide, and don't call me madam.
The postcode film from 1936, Wife vs. Secretary, we see Harlow's character rapidly transform into a respectable and hardworking secretary, while the use of her feminine form to get her way takes a back seat. The entire plot of the film revolves around everyone believing that she is once again the secretary sleeping with her employer. The constant misunderstanding amongst the characters in the film that Harlow cannot possibly be innocent probably played in the audience's mind as well, as they watch this renewed, morally abiding actress on screen.
So long. So long.
Mm-hmm.
Business is where you can find it, and that's no lie.
The closest she gets to her boss throughout the whole film is taking his shoes off on the side of two twin beds, pushed up against one another. This possibly suggested the ability to revert back to immoral, precode ways was available, but that the morals of these characters are too strong to give in to such animalistic instincts. Harlow tells the wife of their innocence and consoles her that she's not wrong to question her husband's actions with other attractive women. We see her character portrayal as still slightly imperfect when she covertly suggests that she may or may not be secretly interested in her boss. Knowing this flaw about herself, she does the right thing and steps aside to let the wife go back to her husband, typical of the upstanding postcode method. The Hays Code influenced Harlow and Stanwyck to evolve from gold-digging seductresses to upstanding ladies, leading to the more submissive depiction of women in film.